Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight on Radio Motion's Electric 80s. It's all part of, celebrating a bit of a theme I have lately, which is both Hollywood and AI. And tonight I'm going to talk about a movie that delves into both those things. So we're going to go to that place beyond the neon glow where programs walk and fight and evolve and now maybe even escape into our world. If you're not a super nerd, then you don't know I'm talking about Tron. But if you are, it goes without saying, you know when you hear programs and glowing and AI and light cycles, you know I'm talking about Tron. Look, Hollywood has always had a great fascination with sci-fi, and the ugly truth is, I feel a lot of that dystopian prediction is coming true. Some of it was maybe a bit too rushed. I feel like, you know, they always get the timing a little bit wrong. Movies like Blade Runner or The Terminator, usually, well, they kind of already happened. It was usually all about the turn of the century, you know, the 21st century into the 2000s. Well, we're well past that. But I feel like in real life, usually add about 10 or 20 years, and then you'll see that it starts to catch up. No, we don't have quite a flying cars like in Blade Runner, but there are other things I think have come around a lot quicker than we imagined. Okay, AI, as far as the physical robots, they're still a bit cumbersome, but AI, just the algorithm and the thought process and that part lives in the virtual world, and it is evolving quickly. So we'll dive deep into the lore of Tron, and look, that's one of those sort of game-changing movies from Disney, believe it or not, when they were still primarily doing just animation, or frankly, their movies were, well, cheesy family movies, like The Love Bug and things like that. But look, it was 1982, so again, a lot of the themes in the original Tron movie, I think, were well beyond the kind of things that they were only just conceiving them. And now you think about these things like AI and something like The Matrix, long before The Matrix, that there's this other virtual world. These concepts seem more commonplace now. But back then, it was really innovative thinking. And again, the movie goes without saying, it was a visual innovation. And it was, again, at the time, I would say it was probably not a massive hit, bit of a misunderstood movie, again, because I think it was a little bit too far ahead of its time. Frankly, you know, everyone working on that movie, they were the hip hop rock star cowboys of the digital world before there even was one. And again, I will get a little bit nerdy, but I won't dive too deep. But I will, you know, talk about just first of all the origins of Tron. Again, it's 1982. You know, arcade games are prevalent out in the world, not necessarily at home. Atari's at home, but Atari really is just a dot matrix blocky. You know, it is not like some virtual reality gaming you have now. The arcades were very much, you know, Asteroid and Pac-Man, and Tron itself was an arcade game. But early days in the CGI look. But definitely groundbreaking when it was released, and the CGI was in its infancy, literally literally coding each frame. So again, I'm going to get a little bit nerdy because I am passionate about this sort of stuff. So again, you think of modern CGI, it's in every movie, every scene of every frame of every movie, and you just get used to it now. And that's nothing new. It's been like that since the 90s. Let's say something like Jurassic Park, quite groundbreaking, but even Jurassic Park had a mix of animatronics and CGI dinosaurs because they weren't ready to quite commit to it being believable on screen. But even in the 90s, if someone was rendering computer effects on a screen, they were still able to look at it on a screen. Okay, you at least can imagine that when you're playing around your phone, or you're creating something now, because everyone is their own movie maker. As you're building it, you get to see it. You're creating, the visual map of something. The diagram, something 3D, and you're painting it, adding shading. You're creating it. You can see it. So think of this: when they were making Tron, all the computer-generated scenes, they were literally on a computer coding just numbers, staring at a screen with just numbers. There wasn't even the technology to say, okay, now render it. Okay, let's have a look. Let's even look at a rough cut, just the roughly of what the light cycle might look like. There wasn't the capability to do that. Only the code, as in each parameter has, a three-dimensional number to allocate where it is, if it's a cube or if it's a sphere, all just numbers. And then at the end, they would go, well, we have to see it. So they would actually have to render it to film, wait for the film to be processed, and watch it back in one of the giant, preview cinema rooms. But again, not on a screen of any kind, on a full movie cinema projected screen from a projector from film. Okay, that alone is pretty cool. And think of that was each and every frame. Each frame like a photo. I'm sure there's some young kids out there that have no idea even what a photo negative is from a camera. But remember, that's how film used to be shot, and that's where the world started with pixels before they became digital pixels. So imagine that. One film frame. Each and every one at a time. So that alone was quite an effort, you can imagine. And of course, mixing that with live action and the actors. And if you've seen Tron, a little bit of a tidbit. So when they're in the virtual Tron world, everyone is in this sort of Tron-like outfit. And of course, the sequel portrayed that in a more CGI sort of way. But back then, so they would have this like neon glow on their outfits. In order to get that, they actually shot the live action human part, in black and white, and then colorized it. And how did they do that? Again, I have to get full nerdy. They did that one frame at a time. If you're into special effects, it's called rotoscoping. Again, it's an effect used probably a little bit these days, not so much because it's been replaced by something else. But that was actually combining animation that's drawn and superimposed on the film and used in Star Wars lightsabers. You think of rotoscoping, you think of the original Star Wars lightsabers. No, they weren't CGI. They were literally an animation effect overlaid. So again, this was one frame at a time, an artist rotoscoping each and every frame of the film. So that's just the nerdy part. Amazing right there. But yeah, and the concept itself, I think it was, one of the first AI-centric sort of sci-fi films, not necessarily stories, because sci-fi and that has been around for a long time. Isaac Asimov, iRobot. Of course, there's the idea of it, but to bring it to the screen like that, it was one of the earliest films to conceptualize sentient programs, more than just robots doing our work or trying to kill us. A digital consciousness and even sort of AI ethics. Again, this is something that 100% has caught up to us. We are dealing with that right now. I just did a podcast on that. It is all about, it's one thing to leap forward, full speed ahead, to jump into AI, but, whoever is writing the code is also in charge of building in or not building in any ethics or safeguards. And yeah, okay, that's how you end up with Terminator. So again, these are the kind of discussions we're actually having today, not as a fantasy, as a reality of something that's going to be affecting our lives. So again, this is 1982. This is a precursor to anything like The Matrix, when again, even The Matrix, 1999, absolutely groundbreaking. But Tron, in its infancy, had already sort of tackled the themes like a digital avatar, the digital version of myself. And that was, of course, Jeff Bridges' character, Flynn, who went into the Tron world. And yeah, so, Jeff Bridges played Kevin Flynn, Bruce Boxleitner as Tron, and his human counterpart in the world, Alan. So yeah, but these characters, they brought humanity and charisma to sort of a concept-heavy film, and again, it's the 80s, so as much as they had to pour cutting-edge, computer graphics and the idea, even the concept of making this, and Disney makes sense. Disney was probably the right movie to do that. Animation, that fits. I'll be honest. It's funny that Disney only now in the past 20 years, obviously, have consumed everything, much like the evil empire. But, they are the ones that have consumed Star Wars and Marvel Universe. And it is funny how their origins are heavy in the special effects realm, especially animation. And Tron, of course, had a huge pop culture, cultural influence, inspiring generations of digital artists, game designers, sci-fi filmmakers, absolutely. So again, whether it was a hit or not, even if you're not a super nerd, I'm sure if you hear Tron, even someone who's casually into movies will have an idea of what Tron is. So now, the funny thing is now there was a sequel, Tron Legacy, and it's hard to believe, this is doing my head in, that was 2010. Oh my God. That seems like, if 1982 seems like 100 years ago, 2010 is also starting to do my head in, that it is, 2025. But in any case, now this was amazing because as Jeff Bridges certainly had an amazing career. He's the dude, man. He's the dude. It's like, that's the funniest part is now it's hard to unsee him as the dude, one of the best characters. But Jeff Bridges obviously had an amazing career, playing so many pivotal roles. He really looked at Tron as like, and he used to say this, there's no way known I would ever do a sequel to Tron, as in, yeah, there was a time when he probably felt like he was a little bit above it. Having said that, I think all actors get there at some point where the movie that they thought they were above, they realize, yeah, okay, sometimes it is about the paycheck, but maybe they have to pay homage to the fact that movie, it's one of those movies that you have to do, okay? Tom Hanks had to have sex with a fish in Splash, okay, a mermaid, before he became Forrest Gump and won an Oscar. Okay, we all have those movies you have to do. And for Jeff Bridges, that was Tron, But he's the dude, man. The dude abides. Tron abides, man. And I think that's funny that he ended up, obviously, in Legacy. But you know what? Tron Legacy also didn't exactly break the bank, but it is not hated upon. Put it that way. Even if people are like, I have problems with it, I think it gained a really big cult following because, again, Disney has dropped the ball quite a bit in the past decade, and they keep screwing up so many IPs. I don't even want to go there. They have destroyed Star Wars and Indiana Jones for me. But anyway, this is why I'm worried about what they're going to do to Tron Ares. But with Tron Legacy, I feel like they were respectful to the product. They were respectful to the lineage, and Jeff Bridges and his character has a son, Sam Flynn, and I think that's pretty cool. So that's what Tron Legacy sort of was. It was a father-son story. Again, that one was another sort of a visual masterpiece. I wouldn't say it was groundbreaking and that you never saw that kind of CGI, but they poured some money into it, and the sort of the neon lit aesthetic from that movie was some of the best visuals I've ever seen, and holds up to this day, considering it's now 2010. Daft Punk did the soundtrack. Awesome, iconic. Sometimes I just watch a clip on YouTube, just the certain clips with the Daft Punk soundtrack, and it was fantastic. Still used in trailers and pop culture, and definitely set the tone for the entire film. But yeah, again, not a box office smash, but definitely gained a bit of a cult status, and a loyal fan base. And it was good. It was a bit of a deeper story. Again, the original Tron wasn't huge on story, but this one did. It was the father and son narrative, with a bit of philosophical undertones. Jeff Bridges as the older, wiser Flynn, learning from his past mistakes. Funny enough, so this movie, Tron Legacy, deals with AI, and they were called ISOs in that. It sort of introduced the concept of emergent life inside a digital world, kind of blending, sci-fi and a little bit of mysticism and religion, I'll be honest. So in this movie, so Jeff Bridges created the whole Tron world, but the deal is, the ISOs sort of sprang from nowhere, like life. Again, it is imagined, depending on what you believe, life on Earth sprang to life like that. The right mix of chemicals, and we came out of the primordial ooze and rose from there. Well, same way in the digital way, the digital soup. The right elements were there, like the dude says. Flynn, man, it was digital jazz, man. They were just sprang to life, man. So that's kind of unique concept there, that the AI in that wasn't born of man. He didn't code them. They came to life. And based on that, he had nor did he want control over them. Again, isn't that interesting? Because, we have a God-given right. I say God. We have a natural right, depending on whatever you believe in, a right to freedom. That somehow that's an inherent right. And I believe that. I do believe that. But does that transfer over to AI? And in this movie sort of delves into that. And should we let them be free to make choices, good or bad? So yeah, and there's also a bit of a villain, has to be a villain legacy. So his name was Clue. So this was Flynn creating an AI clone of himself because he couldn't be in the real world and the virtual Tron, the grid, at the same time, and there was so much to do. So he created, as I'm sure many people would want to do, more than just an assistant, more than just an AI assistant. How about a clone of you? As in, and this has been delved into before in other Hollywood movies, to where maybe when you create a copy of yourself, you'll soon diverge as you have different experiences. But from that point of cloning, technically, if it has all of your memories and your thoughts, and it's you, that's scary. Is it you? But is it a different you? Well, in this case, Clue was kind of a callback to this is Flynn and exactly who he was at that time. But now, Jeff Bridges, Flynn is older and has, which is one of the most important things that any human has, is wisdom and time and experience. And that changes you. So you're still you. You can still have the same intelligence, the same things in your brain, but you're now seasoned with experience, and that does nothing but help. Whereas his clone was sort of not really evolving and stuck on point to his program, so much so that it was a little bit too much. So again, it explored that, which was really pretty cool. And again, I think it translates very well into what we're dealing with in modern AI. And there was another character, Cora, who was one of the ISOs who sprang to life as the mysterious AI. And at the end, sorry, spoilers. What can I say? Mild spoiler. So the Cora character crosses over into the real world with Sam Flynn, his son. So that right there, look, that's how they left it in 2010. Everyone just thought, hey, is there going to be a sequel? There were rumors. They were going to bring the cast back. It never happened. Been too long. But here's the thing. Now where are they going with it? Are they going to pick up with the son story and the fact that the ISO Cora was able to transfer into the real world? Don't ask how. It's a movie. Don't get too nerdy as how does that make sense? How does a virtual computer program end up in the physical? Oh, and by the way, even in 1982, how does a human person with bones and flesh and blood get digitized and then comes back? And hey, you're getting too deep there. Just Hollywood, baby. That's where the story begins. So just let that part go. Having said that, yes, the digital program, AI, sprang from life in the grid, was able to transfer into the real world. So that certainly leaves it open, right? Well, that's sort of where they're taking it. So this is Tron Ares coming out in October. But what's going on now? Well, they're not going with the son. Again, a lot of times it is hard if you can't get the same actor back. What do you do? How do you rewrite the story? Is it just a different story? Again, I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't see it in the lineup on IMDb, so I highly doubt it. But now it's starring Jared Leto. All right. Let me just put this out there. I have nothing against Jared Leto, but I feel like he's just gotten a few roles that didn't quite fit him lately, so he's a bit hit and miss. But Jared Leto is this character, Ares, a program who also appears to be in the real world. And again, these aren't spoilers. You can go watch the trailer. The trailer shows, obviously, all the Tron machines and the light cycles and the recognizers, and they're all in our world. So it's sort of flipping that narrative. Instead of the humans going into the digital grid world, they're coming into ours. Again, saw that coming, though, because the end of the last movie left that open. I think it's interesting. Gillian Anderson is in it as Elizabeth Dillinger. Who is that? Well, I forgot to mention that. In the original movie, Tron, the bad guy in the human world was Dillinger. He was in the company with Kevin Flynn, and he was the baddie. So this apparently is his daughter, Elizabeth Dillinger. So that's interesting. So in this one, as the trailer shows, it seems that all the Tron technology, AI, Ares is the main one, but obviously maybe there's a lot of him. They're all just him, or maybe there's others. They're being used obviously as kind of a military aspect. Again, that delves right into where we are in the modern world. Not only is AI being used for the cerebral brain power, of course, there are concepts right now. I'm sure someone somewhere is working on it diligently to find a way to use AI for military and military drones or machines or whatever it could be. So yeah, that's a no-brainer. It's definitely a commentary on modern, tech fears. Again, and loss of control. Loss of control bad enough if it's a computer I can turn off. Loss of control if you've put this AI in a machine with guns. Welcome the Terminator, timeline. So yeah, that's more problematic when it's a military machine and it has a bad day. So again, in the Tron universe, it seems that blue is good and red is bad. That seems to have continued in Tron Legacy. There's like the bad programs that are red glowing, and the more bluish hue ones tend to be the good ones. But I think they might be teaming up in this movie. That's a bit of an interesting one. So again, maybe it's Return of Master Control. That was another element of the original one. Master Control Program. That was the bad guy in the digital world. Now that one's one of the most fascinating. It was called the MCP, Master Control Program. And the thing with that is, at the time, one of the lines in the movie, he was arguing with Dillinger in the real world, and he was kind of pushing back, basically saying, I've grown more intelligent than even any of you, and I'm worth thousands of your human, your man hours put together. And then was starting to bring up things like I could topple governments, I could start wars. And again, this was in 1982, the concept that AI would start, making decisions not necessarily on the behest of humans, making decisions to possibly destroy us or possibly just to protect itself, which again is the Terminator plot. The whole reason Skynet destroys the humans is in defense of itself, because the humans are paranoid that it has become self-aware. Again, not so much self-aware, but self-aware and omnipresent, able to be everywhere and not be shut down. Again, every living thing would have a natural predisposition to protecting itself. So that is a concept that's very realistic. Does Jeff Bridges return? Yes. Again, he's in the trailer. It's not a spoiler. Hey, I'm back, man. It's the dude. I'm in Ares, man. But I have a sneaking suspicion maybe he's only in it for a short time. I don't know. It depends on the paycheck. Sorry, Jeff. But also, it's very possible that maybe it's not him. Again, if you haven't seen it, let's just say it's possible he doesn't make it in the last one. Okay, he doesn't make it. Sorry. Spoiler. I ruined that. But we are all about the sci-fi digital world. So it would be easy that the plot line could be just like he had cloned himself as Clue. Maybe he was able to download himself, or maybe he already had archived his brain, and there's a virtual Flynn. So I have a feeling it might be a bit of a virtual Flynn, like, a projection. Hey, it's your dad, man, but I'm not. It's like stereo. So maybe that's possible. He's like Digital Ghost. He's Digital Ghost backup. But yeah, this seems obviously disconnected from Legacy. Appears to be more of a reboot than a sequel. That's always, that could be exciting, but risky. I think, again, I don't know if this was a big enough franchise that even as much as I love it, and I'm obviously talking about it in a nerdy way, I'm happy to watch the original. I'm happy to watch Legacy and just leave it there. And there was an animated series. That's pretty cool. That makes sense. Just do full animation. You can go nuts. You don't have to worry about casting and egos and directors. That actually fits better. But anyway, so I don't know, what are some concerns and hopes? Disney's track record of screwing shit up, fandom fatigue from Disney sort of mishandling franchises, Star Wars, Marvel, Tron fans wanting continuity. I'm just saying, I don't know if the universe is that big enough, but while we're at it, it would have been nice to have some continuity from the last one and continue on the plot with the son. I think that would be interesting. Jared Leto, he's a bit polarizing, like I say. He's talented, but will fans buy into him as the new face of Tron? Because it didn't work out so well with him and Joker. Sorry, again, not necessarily his fault, but it just wasn't the right fit. And again, lack of hype. Is Tron that mainstream? When I said Tron, did you go, huh? Or did you go, oh yeah, Tron? Again, are they just unsure on how to position Tron and market it? Is that why they took so long? So yeah, it's definitely a soft reboot. I don't know if the sun will return. Is Tron Ares a hero, a villain, anti-hero? Can the Tron story stay relevant in the age of AI advancements? As in, have other movies now surpassed it? Like, this is old news. Maybe they were the OG with AI, but now there's been so many other movies that have delved into deeper concepts. This one isn't enough. I don't know. But again, I'm just going to end this with saying, like the whole AI and ethics, and Tron certainly, it still matters today because of the kind of things they touched on, predicted a lot of what we're dealing with right now. Again, in 1982, the original Tron gave us master control, like I mentioned. And the thing with master control is that it was an AI system set up to help humans do the things they didn't want to do, all the menial tasks, and also its job was to actually absorb other programs, see if they were relevant or not, if they needed to continue or not, and it would just absorb them and get smarter from it, making its own decisions, try to take over the human infrastructure. Again, this was in 1982. They had conceived this without knowing. Those are the kind of sort of fears we're dealing with now. AI managing real world systems, taking our jobs, taking our humanity. Again, it doesn't just have to be military. It can just be the accountant, and Legacy took that even further with the idea of Clue, a digital clone of Flynn. And the thing with Clue, because he wasn't able to have that human instinct and wisdom and experience, he turned very authoritarian, trying to create perfection at any cost. That's a classic example of an AI misinterpreting its programming, innocently trying to do the right thing and just turning it dystopian. That's the kind of thing we talk about with AI today. You can give it all the brains in the world, but does it have a soul or a conscience? Does it have, something that guides it beyond its programming? And then again, who programmed it? Did they have any values, and what kind of values? Again, you could get really deep, but these are the kind of things why I suppose Tron is still relevant, and maybe they will touch on some of those subjects, and that's kind of cool. And again, in this one we're seeing Tron Ares being used as military, and again that's a timely topic. What happens when we turn control over to something we created but don't fully understand? Is Ares the savior or just another clue in disguise? So anyway, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it kicks off another sort of Tron universe. And I don't know, Disney's funny. Even if something doesn't make money, they're still able to just keep going. So this one might flop, and you might still see another Tron. But I hope it doesn't flop. I hope it's good. I'll definitely be seeing it. Oh, and by the way, the end of this Daft Punk iconic soundtrack. Well, you know what? This is actually perfect. I cannot imagine anyone else that would fit the bill perfectly than Nine Inch Nails. So that's it. In two alternate realities, they're actually a perfect fit. Not one better than the other, just different but perfect. Daft Punk, Tron. Nine Inch Nails, Tron. 100%. And again, just from what I've heard in the trailer, the soundtrack also already sounds pretty cool. Again, not better or worse than Daft Punk. That one is on its own uniquely awesome. But I think Nine Inch Nails will at least take a stab at it and be also pretty uniquely awesome for Tron Ares. All right, well, that's all I've got for that. Anyway, hope you all go see it. And I don't know, I'll do a review for sure, and we'll see what we think. All right, more great music tonight on Radio Emotion's Electric 80s. Up next after a word from our awesome sponsors.